I wrote this a few years ago, and it applies more now than ever, and I read it out sometimes. And I read it at a recent online meeting, and it seemed to touch a nerve in people and touch something deep inside with other people. And so I decided to kind of read it and offer it up anyway. It's called Love's Fire. I fought against love. I rejected it, feared it, and denied it. I was angry with love, unable even to speak its name. I kept love from reaching the depths of my being, refusing to let its transformative fire consume everything that wasn't truly love. Then I fell into the deepest love I had ever known. This love drove me to madness. It made me a poet. It destroyed everything no longer needed. It took me into the darkest corners of my soul, shining its light on them, demanding all of me. Love said, "Burn in the fire, let everything go, surrender yourself." And I walked willingly into that fire. I embraced love, welcomed it, and became it. I could no longer stop speaking about it. What began as personal love transformed into a love for all things. Once I couldn't even say the word. Now it's all I speak of. This kind of sums up much of my own life. Certainly I was so wounded in my teenage years that, love just seemed not relevant. I buried myself in addictions and avoidance and a kind of suffering, which is pretty common. We all do it in some ways as a defensive mechanism, self-protection. And I had a lot of relationships, and they were beautiful, and my partners were beautiful, but I was in many ways incapable of relationship, in a sense. I tried to love. I think I wanted to in some ways, but as soon as intimacy arose, as soon as anything got too close to me, I'd push it away and sabotage it, and in many ways just destroy it. And so I returned again and again and again to the loneliness and this kind of despair. And then things started to happen, and the poem speaks for itself, that love found me. It sort of found me slowly, suddenly, rapidly. And that's before I met Amoda Maa, my wife. It escalated and it increased, and she was the final fire of my life that transformed me completely, I would say. But the love, love had happened before that. When I walked into the shamanic camp with the wild Celtic shaman that I spent a couple of years with in his tribe in England. And he was steeped in Rumi and Nisargadatta and some just eclectic teachers. Man, it was a sort of Rumi in many ways. Just love started to kind of, I don't know, pour into my being, pour into me somehow, and I gave myself to it. I've given myself to the fire many, many, many times, and I think you have to, if you want transformation to be powerful, and to really filter into the depth, into the very essence, into the bones, into the blood, into the body, into the emotion, into the mind, into the spirit. In a way, you have to give yourself to it as a fire. It's a fire. It's a fire of truth. It's a fire of transformation, and you have to give yourself to it. And in this case, I did give myself to it, and it was pretty tough. And it took all of me, and it ravaged me for quite a long time. And there was such a transformation has taken place over the years. I can barely quantify it. Needless to say, love found me, and once I couldn't speak of love, and now I can't speak about anything else on a certain level. And you know, love seems to underpin so much of us, and you know, to discover that and find it and honor it and live it as though it's the deepest, then it's a beautiful thing. And I certainly, you know, hope these words speak to you in some kind of way, and maybe they ignite or foster some fire within you, because love is not just a personal thing between two people, or, you know, it's a vast thing. It's a vast terrain. It's a vast field of energy that we all long for and we all yearn for, and it's not something to be meager with and something to hold on to as if we can claim ownership of something. It's like trying to claim ownership of the universe or the sky or the ocean. It's absurd, and it doesn't really work, you know. So I've learned to sort of let go, or to speak of love to whoever will listen, because that's the only thing that seems to mean anything. And so there we are. I hope that speaks to you. Thanks for listening.